Hi, welcome to Help with Hannah Jones. I'm Hannah Jones, and I'm answering your questions, Dear Abby style. This podcast is brought to you by Little India. This is a beloved, local, family-owned restaurant with 4 locations throughout the Denver area and a coffee shop. I love stopping by the coffee shop for a quick snack or going to one of the dining locations for everything from birthday dinners to date nights. If you live in Colorado, you should make this place a regular stop, and if you're visiting our great city, be sure you don't miss Little India. Visit littleindiadenver.com to find a location near you. And thank you, Dude IDK Studios in Denver, where we are recording. I have a guest in the studio today to help me give advice. You might know her from producing the Manitou Comedy Festival or doing indie comedy shows all over the Colorado area. It's Sarah Sawchuk.
Woo, woo, woo. Bow, bow, bow.
Hi, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
You're so welcome.
We were talking before the podcast started about your knuckle tattoos.
We were. I did get some knuck tattoos. I'm a knucklehead now. I think that's what
It goes hard.
It goes hard. I think I'd fit in prison very well. You know, like they wouldn't fuck with me.
Absolutely.
That's the best part. I just wanted, some safety on me.
It's funny how every person who is not particularly close to the prison industrial complex, I don't know about your family's history with imprisonment.
They should be.
But none of my family has a history of incarceration. But for some reason, even though I have no experience with prison, I don't know anyone who has experience with prison. I think every person has like a prison plan, kind of.
For sure.
Because as soon as Orange is the New Black came out, we were all like we all have a plan of what we would do if we were on the show Survivor. And we all have a plan of what we would do if we were in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And we're wildly overconfident about it.
I agree. I was watching that show and I went to an acting school in New York. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't know, but my old instructor was playing a lawyer on there.
On the show.
It's kind of weird to know someone like on a big major show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's Neil. And the reason why I remember him is because we were all like typecasted in our classes, and he asked the class to typecast me, and they were silent. And I was like, oh no, like, I'm just this 19-year-old girl, put a cliche on me. And he goes, Sarah, you'll never be the star, but you'll always be the best friend to the star. So I think that's my prison persona.
That's just such a complicated way of telling someone they have a round face, Like, yeah, I got that too in my acting classes.
Right? Like,
it's
if I don't
exactly
have
the
the heart shape, like...
I get it. I weigh 10 pounds more than her. That is it.
Right? I was like, okay, well, now I'm the star of my own stand-up
I will always
shows.
be the best friend because I'm very charismatic and very funny.
Yeah, very, like, aggressive. And I'm like, you go, girl. So I think in prison, I would be, like, the best friend to, like, the main person.
Who's the main? Do you think prison has a main character?
I think they have a cast.
Oh, dear God.
I think like an ensemble. I think it's a theater production. And I'm sure they throw theater, like Cats. Like I'm sure they do their own, like that's my dream. And I'm that person.
I was the lead role of prison.
I was, my you can't miss it on the freeway. But yeah, so I got the knuckle tattoos. I've always hated my hands. And so for my 30th, I'm a huge fan of like milestones, like New Year's, 30th birthday. I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I did.
I do love the philosophy of getting tattoos on shit you don't like, because I was never a show my arms girl, but now I have all these sick tattoos.
Dude. Yeah, those are sick.
And I gotta show them.
You'd
Same
have to.
I would really love to get a massive as fuck stomach piece.
Ooh, okay, like a Chipotle burrito tattoo. That's what I would do.
I want I like shit that's like kind of vaguely traditional. I have too many birds on me already, so I need to get other animals before I can get more birds.
Sick.
So originally, I would have loved to get like a big bird spread eagle, if you will.
Spread eagle, we will.
But I've also seen some like really cool, like a lion with some like filler around it and shit.
What about like a tunnel? I want people to know that I'm just like a tunnel.
Well, I never come in. That's funny. I don't want it to seem like I'm ignoring your bit.
No, my bad.
My thing with tattoos is that like I go to an artist because I think they make dope shit. I don't want to like bring them my terrible uncool idea. I just like my favorite tattoos that I've gotten are all flash, and my least favorite tattoos are the ones that I've gotten where I was like, I want this on my body because it represents a little part of me, you know.
Oh, interesting. How
So
do you
I
feel
just
about that?
always get flash, and then tattoo artists love when you get flash. They're like, yeah, this is what I got into tattooing for, was drawing my own fucking ideas, and the fact that you like it enough to get it on your body is dope. And it's also like those are the pieces of art that the tattoo artist is putting way more like energy into, and also like good vibes into.
Yeah.
Because when a tattoo artist is drawing your fucking, you're like, can I get a horse with, and it's holding a banner, and the banner says I love my mom. The tattoo artist is drawing it like, just this
Fucking
bitch.
Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
there are exceptions to every rule.
For
Obviously,
sure.
if you come in with a cool idea and an artist you vibe with, of course they're going to do a great job. But I just feel like tattoo artists, because I get flash, they will talk trash with me about how much they hate people who commission specific stuff.
Ooh.
And after hearing all of that to them, I like really don't have any desire to bring my own ideas. I just want to get flash for the rest of my life.
Rough. Because now I'm going to do flash for the rest of my life, and it's going to be a butterfly, and it's going to be, which is not bad.
It's so funny. I was talking to this one tattoo artist while I was getting something done, and he was like, I was like, he made some joke about, we were talking about common tattoos, and it ended up, he said, yeah, like if rent is coming up and I'm a little short, I'll obviously post 3 sheets of moths.
Oh, sick plan, bro.
And I was just like, oh, that's like straight up like his financial planning.
Straight up.
Like,
I wish I had
post
that
the weird shit at
plan.
the beginning of the month, and the moths at the end of the month, and
Wow.
the beetles.
If I need to make rent, I'm like, feet, come on out. Like, let's work harder this time. We were short last month. That's crazy though. But yeah, the Nuk tattoos, it's a Ukrainian thing. I don't need to dig into it much more than that. Her name's Saint Olga. Google.
You're Ukrainian?
I am. I'm half. My great grandparents came to America, and my dad's full. And then I came along, and then 23andMe told me 49.9%.
Ooh, damn. So that means your dad is only 99%, right?
Probably. I mean, I'm no mathematician, but
That little liar.
I know, that little liar. But half Ukrainian and struggling with identity. So I was like, let's go. Let's do this. Let's do the hair. New year, new me. I'm very much into like pounding into new goals, like new comedy goals, like Twitch. I'm all about it.
I like the idea of hand tattoos because my friend recently, I was doing comedy in San Francisco, and they were like, I got these tattoos because they're the ones that show up in pictures when you're holding a microphone. And I was
Right.
like,
Same.
genius fucking person.
Yeah.
I didn't previously have anything. This whole was blank. I want to get something here, and I'd love to. I think hand tattoos have become so normal, and I don't feel like I'm ever going to need to fit in at like an office in the future. So I'm down to get my hands done.
See, I sell bagels. So when I bring a bagel, they're like,
Do you have a lot of other tattoos?
I do. I was just going to say, speaking of like stage tattoos, I didn't think about like this cat showing up ever, but now it does all the time, which is fine. I have my parents saying I love you, and that was a fun one.
Because I always heard that they won't let you get hand tattoos if you're not tatted up enough.
That's what I heard. And I said, I'm going to do the opposite, where I'm going to get hand tattoos and then build up. You know,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to like go full throttle and then build up. So no disrespect to the tattoo community, but I paid money.
Yeah,
on
I
the body.
think if the check clears, they don't
If
give
the
a
check
fuck.
clears, if the Venmo goes through, I'm on it. So, but yeah, Nuk tattoos. But I wanted, can I tell my story I wanted to tell?
Oh, yes, please
to
do.
the listeners out there. Like, I feel like you don't know your favorite stand-up comedian as a person, obviously, because you see him perform. But whenever I hear Hannah Jones's name, I have to be like, let me tell you this one story. And they're like, we're in a loud bar right now. And I'm like, sit down, listen. But years ago, 2022 it was, Jokecella, Fort Collins. And I don't think you have recollection of it, but I do. I had like an anxiety attack before I went on stage, and I did my 2 minutes.
If I recall correctly, I was extremely nervous at that Jokecella
You said that
as well.
too. Yeah, you said you were really nervous, and I was really nervous. I did my set. I look horrible, no makeup, like I'd been crying all day, and I was just standing in like the bar area, and you came up to me. And then I think I like joked. I was like, I have anxiety. And you were like, I'm nervous too. And you brought me over to a group of gals, and we just started talking. And it was really nice of you to do that, because I think, like I said earlier, I was like a rescue puppy just in the rain. and you were like, here's an umbrella.
That's so nice of you. I'm very happy that I
That's my
did
impression
that.
of you. That's my
And also
impression.
to pay it forward, like it is so funny how like when people include you in stuff, when people are nice to you, it's great. When people include you in
It's
stuff,
so
it
good.
like sticks with you for the rest of your life. Like there have been like multiple times that BK Sherrod, friend of the pod, he's been a guest, has like brought me into a conversation. And specifically when I was really new and didn't have a lot of people to talk to, we were out on like a festival together and he made it so much easier to talk to people. I felt very safe
Yeah.
talking to him. And it's like now, if you were to kill someone, I would say, let's bury the body, put him in my
do it
trunk because
together.
I have a Civic and it's got a lot of trunk space.
It's got a lot of
I'm
trunk space.
so down for that. But it just like, it leaves such a mark on you.
Mm-hmm.
The memory of like feeling like socially uncomfortable in a setting and then not just like is burned into your brain forever.
Well, like because you did that, I do that to others now. Like I
Hell
open mic
yeah.
in Springs because we have newbies, and I'll be like, "Hey, man, what's up?" And they're like, "My name's Mike," and I was like, "Oh, you're at an open mic. That's so cool. Come over here. Let's chat." So you've inspired me to do that more because I feel like when you're in like a comedy group setting, it's a bunch of little circles that you're just trying to like compete in, maybe, and you don't notice anyone else, but you're just trying to be like your brand, and you went out of your way.
Comedy is such a struggle because it's a large group with recurring characters. So it's kind of like high school. And additionally, kind of like high school, there's a great many of people who are distinctly emotionally underdeveloped. Layer on top of that being like in a strong gender minority, like you're one of like 8 women out of like 60 people there.
Right.
It's so stressful.
It's daunting
to find your place and to like finally feel. And like I did comedy for like 4 or 5 years and like I had glimpses of feeling comfortable and feeling like comfortable in a group and like I had friends and included and stuff, but I had like a lot longer of treks of time where that was like my main insecurity. It was like, why don't I feel like I'm having the experience that men talk about on podcasts where they just like fall into this big group and everyone's their friend and they just have like this unending loyalty toward each other. It's like that was not my experience. I feel like I like fought hard for the friendship that I have now and the sense of community that I have now. I feel like I put consistent effort into it.
Oh, absolutely. This year or last year when I moved to Springs was the first time I had like 2 female comedian friends. Other than that, I did not have any female comedian friends. I don't know why.
Tough.
I was bullied my first couple of years in comedy.
Oh no.
And that's why I've been bopping around a lot. Like I'll feel a scene like Denver scene is great. I loved it, but I did not like living in Cap Hill. No one does. And then Springs had this vibe and they're super like small and welcoming and had an edge. And I was like, I really want to like push buttons down here, see what's up. But then I found my comedy people. So it's nice that like I have group chats. We do like FaceTimes. We did a meeting in our bathrobes last night. That was pretty dope.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's cute. It's cute. It's like a high school girls club or prison, like whatever.
Exactly like prison.
Exactly like prison.
Hell yeah. Okay. Are you ready to get into some questions?
I'm so
today?
ready. I'm so ready.
I'm so excited. So before we do, I have a couple of announcements. Number 1, I have shows coming up. I do a show every month in Denver. It's my new material show. That means I do a bunch of new material, and in between those chunks, I have other guest comics. It's different guests every time. So you could come every month and see a totally different show. And I would love to see, whenever I see people come month after month, that's like the best feeling in the world because that's the vibe that I really wanted to continue. So it's a secret location, but you get an email with that location a couple days before the show. It's really fun. It's really cheap because it's just a place for me to vibe with you guys and work out new stuff. So the next one is February 7th, and they usually sell out. I would love if you bought tickets. Los Angeles, Santa Fe, Seattle, and Portland are 4 cities that I'm going to be in early 2024. So get on my text list. I don't know exactly when those various ticket links will be coming out, but get on my text list. That's the only way to know for sure when I'm doing shows. If your plan is to see that I'm in your city based on my stories, you should know that my Instagram stories get anywhere from 800 to 10,000 views, depending on who fucking knows what. I've got a slightly better handle on it now, but the vast majority, like 80 to 90% of my followers will just never see my stories. And you're probably one of those. So don't plan on just seeing a story. If you just sign up for my text list, you never have to look at my dumb face again. I'll just send you a text when there's a show to come to in your area, and that way you don't feel like you have to be checking. It's a better plan. I will not spam you. I will not sell your information. I promise it's very safe. It's just one spreadsheet that I own and I only use for this purpose, and I only send you one text. I promise. Okay. Number 2, this podcast is sponsored by the Patreon. Patrons have first priority to get their questions answered, and they also receive a bonus episode every month, and it's only $3. Number 3, if you want to ask a question to get answered in a future episode, you can find the link to that form in the podcast description or in my link tree on any of my social media platforms. Alrighty, let's get into it. Question number 1. How do I tell my dad to have sex with my mom? It's for her health. My mom won't take care of herself because she feels depressed that my dad doesn't have sex with her. But to be fair to my dad, she kind of really let herself go years ago, just junk TV and food all day. So really vicious cycle. I love them both. How do I convince my dad to shag without making him feel like my mom blames him for her food/hygiene/fitness choices? Signed, Helpless Kiddo.
Yeah, kiddo. Thank you for that question.
It's so sad. I think that the way that you think about your mom feels very callous. But on the other hand, ultimately, the fact that you even know these facts about your life really implies that your mom has a totally inappropriate dynamic with you.
Yeah.
Therapists would often call this emotional incest. I'm not in the business of diagnosing people. I think that if you were going to order a book about codependency or potentially dealing with emotionally immature parents, you might learn a lot about yourself and your situation, but you should not have any information about how often your parents have sex. If you've walked in on them before or if you've heard them before, that's one thing. That might happen to most kids throughout and it's honestly, you're lucky if you have sexually active parents. But for the most part, if you have any real concrete idea of the exact regularity of your parents' sex lives, you are already the victim of a totally unhealthy and inappropriate family dynamic.
Wow, that was insightful and beautiful. I was going to say parent trap them. Just put them on a boat or something and just like ship them off. Be like, figure it out. I'll be back. Enjoy the Bahamas. You know?
Totally. I think if you specifically want to get your dad to do something, then what you should get your dad to do is say, I need you and my mom to have a functional relationship. I need you to look out for my mom because she's not in a healthy place and you're in a family with her and you seem apathetic to the fact that she is wildly depressed. And that makes me think, my entire experience growing up in this household, that we are apathetic to the struggles of the ones that we love. And that's why I have mirrored that. And I refer to my mom as having let herself go and having terrible health and fitness choices instead of having that's just like a way of talking about your mom that feels really parallel to the way that your dad seems like he doesn't really care about her situation and her choices. But at the end of the day, you're not responsible for anything that's happening here.
So I grew up with parents that were divorced, but they still lived in the same house together for fun, I guess. And I remember I'd be like, damn, I wish they would bang. That would be really nice. But now hearing this question, I'm like, I'm glad they separated because I don't want to know at all.
I grew up with parents who did not like each other.
Right.
And it felt they were very separated and they didn't talk much for most of my experience in that household. And then they got divorced like right after I left. And to me, I always jokingly refer to like my conception as the last time they had sex, because by the time that I was aware of what sex was, I didn't see any physical intimacy between my mom and my dad. I'm not sure I ever saw them kiss, to be honest, that I can remember. I think by the time I was like 5 years old, that phase of their marriage was done.
Yeah.
And so I can't exactly say, but I just I've known people who have a level of intimacy with their parents where they're aware of their parents' sex lives, and the rest of your life always becomes about putting up those boundaries
Right.
and figuring out how to be your own person and figuring out how to not be deeply emotionally tethered to your parents in that way.
Yeah.
Because this will last forever. And even though you're not responsible for this dynamic, you are the only one, it sounds like, who's going to look out for stopping it.
Yeah.
It sounds like your dad and mom don't get what's wrong here.
No, I would say mama and papa, I don't boundaries and couples therapy. Go after that person can help. I wonder how old this person is or young even, but
Totally.
I agree with everything you say. But parent trap him. Put him on a boat.
It really sounds like your mom is the one who's giving you a lot of unhealthy insight into this dynamic. And so it sounds like she's where the boundaries need to be placed. If I had to guess, because this is an extremely common family dynamic, dad, super neglectful, super not in the picture. And so you don't even think of him as doing anything wrong.
Right.
But your mom is in your face every day making not ideal parenting choices. And even though she's the one who's there, who's taking care of you, who's there for you, everything that she does wrong is so like present in your life. That a lot of times people think of like, there's nothing really wrong with my dad. And then by the time they're 30, they're like, yeah, my dad's never known anything about me my entire life.
Literally, yeah.
And you start to gain a lot more compassion for your mom.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that if you want to have a good relationship with either of them, you can't know these facts about them.
No, leave some mystery to that relationship.
And holding your dad accountable for an absence of activity is hard. Because it's always like, well, he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, because he didn't do anything.
It's got the fun uncle demeanor, you know. Yeah, I'll take you out for ice cream, kid, and that's it.
Yeah.
But mom will deal with you.
And like that's still, I mean, we really do have this expectation that like if a dad is like kind of nice to his family most of the time, and if he works enough to provide financially for them, that he has fulfilled the role of a parent adequately. And that's totally untrue. And what that causes is that there's an inordinate emotional burden placed on the mother in the household. And it makes it really common for the mom and the children to develop this sort of codependency because the child doesn't have another outlet.
No.
And
you are the outlet, that Hannah.
Yeah, and that's not enough, dude.
It's not enough. Boundaries, keep the mystery in their love life, couples therapy.
Yeah.
On a boat.
And I want to take this so seriously because it doesn't sound like you have any awareness of how much bigger the problem is than them having sex and the fact that you're the one suffering here. Having a codependent or emotional incest relationship with a parent is totally grounds to like go to therapy and get some help with how to set some boundaries. If therapy is accessible to you, it's not for most people.
I feel like
fine.
I've found some people that financially can't super afford a therapist, but there's a lot of like, it sounds so like I don't know what I'm talking about, like therapists in training at colleges and stuff, like students that have like a sliding scale. My friend did it and that really helped her out.
I actually just realized that you said shag. So
that was fun.
You're in the UK. You probably have tons of access to all sorts of healthcare.
You have fans everywhere. That's so cool. I'm like, the bartender of Vultures likes me. That's pretty dope. And you have a UK fan? Shag. I think of Austin Powers. You know, that was my first crush ever. This explains a lot.
Best of luck. I'm really sorry you're going through this, but don't try to get your dad to have sex with your mom. Try to extricate yourself from the conversation entirely. Alrighty, ready for the next question?
Yeah.
Okay. I am a 32-year-old woman who has worked for the same company for 10 years in an industry known for partying and schmoozing clients. Think Mad Men. I used to work in the NYC office until 2017 when I moved back to my home state to work remotely. Every year, my company has a holiday party that they fly everyone to Atlantic City for. To set the scene, these parties are ragers with open bars. People take bets on who will get sloppy, and one year we even went to a burlesque show. Normally, I am a very introverted, quiet person, but after losing a bunch of weight and working on myself in 2019, I went to the party, drank way too much in an effort to be fun and socialized for once, and blacked out. I have vague flashes of being sick in a taxi, maybe doing karaoke, group hugging other drunk employees, and just generally being obnoxious. I don't remember much more than that or how I got back to the hotel. Afterwards, a few people checked in on me and commented on how crazy I got, but spared me any details. Then the pandemic happened, and I never got a chance to save face or redeem myself because they never had another holiday party again. At work, in meetings, I got talked over, not taken seriously, and pushed off projects. I worry that something I drunkenly did or said at the holiday party made my coworkers lose respect for me. I also generally struggle because I'm a Midwestern introvert, and most of my coworkers are from New York City or LA and frequently comment about my flyover state status or talk about exotic vacations, their kids, their renovations, things I cannot relate to. I work really hard, meet all my deadlines, and try and go above and beyond, but people generally have treated me very dismissively. I think I might be frozen in their minds as sloppy drunk or the 22-year-old they initially hired. I work my ass off trying to let my work prove otherwise, but I just struggle to overcome my outsiderness and connect to my coworkers. I've been interviewing like crazy trying to switch to a new company, but haven't had any luck yet, and I'm starting to run out of companies in my industry. I know it's been way overdue to GTFO, but it's starting to look really unrealistic. Do you have any advice on how to save face in my current job and earn some respect back in the meantime? I feel trapped. Signed, Intoxicated in Indiana. And thank you for subscribing to the Patreon, Intoxicated.
Well, first of all, congratulations on having a good time at that party.
Yeah.
When I was in my early 20s, I definitely had moments where I partied too hard and I regretted it. But looking back now, I'm like, I had a good time, and I don't fault 22-year-old Sarah for
These are the stories that we underestimate how universal they are because no one talks about their most humiliating night.
Right.
But everybody has a most humiliating part, and the majority of those most humiliating nights will rival how humiliating your most humiliating night was. And I think in general, the older I get, the more that I realized humiliation is not as threatening as I once thought it was. The reason that our bodies have such an intense experience of embarrassment and humiliation is because the evolutionary threat is like, I'm going to be extricated by the tribe. And like, that's not present in your life anymore. You, it sounds like, are financially taken care of. You have a family, and like, whether or not we get our needs met is no longer dependent on how likable we are. It's just dependent on how much money we make. That's not a better system in any sense. Realistically, I think everyone should be taken care of. But at the end of the day, like, you just have to remember that your body's working perfectly. It's having a really healthy response evolutionarily. It's trying to keep you safe, and it's trying to point you in the right direction. But if an embarrassing night is haunting you 10 years later, that means it's about something much bigger than this night.
Sure. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, right now there's puke on my driver door from New Year's Eve, and I just laugh every time because I got a car wash the day before. And I was like, that's so funny. Someone saw me puke French fries out of my car. Like, that's cinematic in my experience. But I think you are 22 years old. You're doing well.
No, they're 32.
32.
They got hired when they were 22.
Okay.
They worked for 10 years there.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if it's 10 years later, I'm 30 right now, and I used to live in New York City for 6 years, and I was that suburban Coloradan girl that moved there, and they called me like Becky and stuff. Like, Becky with the good hair. Beyonce's album came out that time. Like, I had a lot of humiliating moments, but at the end of the day, I will never put someone's opinion above like how I'm keeping myself grounded. You know, like if someone wants to like talk over me, I've grown to the point where I will be like, do not interrupt me. And I'll make it cute. I'll make it fun because it's comfortable for me. But in the New York City environment, it's kind of what you have to do is you have to be like Gossip Girl 32 years old. Your advice is way more sound and beautiful. This is what justifies in my head. If anyone's like, wow, you were sloshed, I'd be like, I had a great time. What were you doing?
I would very much agree with what you're saying and raise, like, I think there's something very powerful, and I feel like I'm getting repetitive of this, but I feel like you can like absolutely knock off everybody off their asses by just like extremely candidly and pleasantly with a smile on your face say exactly what you are feeling when you are feeling slighted. When someone interrupts you, say, oh my gosh, it feels, I'm sorry, I just feel really shaken because it felt like you were interrupting me because you didn't think I was smart or something in that moment.
Yeah.
It always shocks people
Yeah.
so much that they forget to like put up all their walls.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you are in a shitty position because it sounds like getting another job has been hard. Yes, this workplace is not ideal. You got to get another job at some point, but in the meantime is what we're talking about and what we're giving advice for. And it's interesting how much of this question you are spending trying to interrogate and trying to get to the bottom of, do they think of me this way? Do they think of me that way? Why are they treating me like this? And I would argue that none of those questions matter. You don't like them because they treat you shitty, because they are judgy, they are dismissive, they are rude. You don't like them for all of those reasons. And I think the stories we tell ourselves are important. And I think it's illuminating that instead of saying, I have these coworkers and they are mean and judgy and rude and they won't let the past go. Instead of listing out all of their flaws that are impacting you, you instead dive into your past. Well, here's what I did. And maybe it's because of this. And it was such an embarrassing night. Every time that you experience discomfort in the world, because you can't impact their behavior, because you're powerless to change it, your brain is like, okay, well, the only thing we have control over is ourselves. So let's get to the bottom of this and let's change you to be the perfect person who will never experience the judgment of others and who will never experience the dismissiveness of others and who will never be thought of as less than. And it's like all that discipline will only serve you better. It's like how they say that, like, when you play fetch with a puppy, all they do is become a better athlete. And when you constantly try to shove yourself into the perfect shape to fit into whatever hole is needed, all you do is dive further into a lifestyle where you have to fix and change parts of yourselves to work for other people. I think in this situation, you need to start telling yourself the story that you don't like your coworkers and you don't like your job. It is a toxic work environment. One sloppy night 10 years ago is haunting you to this day because of the treatment of your coworkers. That is psychotic. It's an industry that's known for, and I will say this, yes, your behavior at this work party was not ideal and not professional, but if one year you even went to a burlesque show as one of your like company parties thing, they flew everyone to Atlantic City. They set the bar to everyone that this is not a normal workplace and that you are not held by the burden of professionalism. So I would argue that it wasn't inappropriate based on the standards that they set forth.
No, they're just kind of picking on you because they're insecure of themselves.
Yeah.
And they have nothing better to talk about in the office place. 10 years later, didn't someone have a baby, like an ugly baby they want to make fun of instead of you? Like, why?
And I don't think people actually think of that night as much as you think they do.
Right.
I don't think they have as low of an opinion as you think they do of you. I think a lot of this is in your head. What is true and what is inarguable is that they are treating you like shit because they are mean, judgy people. And I think that, yeah, so first part of advice, start changing the story that you're telling yourself. You are the victim. They are shitty people. You do not like them. It doesn't really matter how they feel about you because you don't respect their opinions very deeply. Number 2, I think you got to start standing up for yourselves in a few key ways. Obviously, like saying don't interrupt me in a business meeting can go a lot of different ways. And especially if, I don't know if you clarified that you're a woman, but like you can't, if people think you're a cunt, they'll just treat you even worse. So you can't necessarily stand up for yourself in that way. But what you can do is you can go to a trusted manager and say, I feel like I get talked over a lot. I feel like I get dismissed a lot. Do you have any feedback for me socially, my inability to connect or fit in here. And it really puts in their face that you're not being treated correctly, and it makes it their professional problem to solve. And they have to fight for you, and they have to put work in. If it's a typically structured corporation, then your manager then has to come up with a plan for you. And maybe they make you take some bullshit leadership course or whatever. But it also plants the idea in their mind that you want to be treated better and you want to be thought of better, and you work your ass off and you want that to be recognized. And I think that's really important too.
I mean, these are good steps you're taking, a new job. I've switched so many jobs because I had a toxic environment. Because I was very much like, bye, I'm not dealing with this. This is above my pay grade to deal with. That's my favorite thing to say. It's above my pay grade. Goodbye. And I have a great job now. They make fun of me because I have knuckle tattoos, but I'm like, I'm going to be a great fit for prison now. And they're like, ah, and they move on. But you're doing the right steps, and I would take Hannah's advice.
Yeah, I would also say never stay at the same job for 10 years. The current state of our economy is that people are job hopping more than ever before, and you will be underpaid. You're not getting 10% raises every year. You're not getting 15 or 20% raises every year. You would be if you job hopped. You have to.
Yep.
But the economy is bad right now, and so finding another job is not guaranteed. If you have savings, I would say take a leap based on if you have at least 6 months of savings, sure, take a leap, whatever. If you have less than 6 months of savings, I would say try to stick it out, continue working toward another job. Remember that finding a job is a numbers game because every single one will reject you until the one that doesn't. But I'm so sorry.
Yeah, dude. Because I feel like comedians are the first ones to joke about themselves. That was my goal as a kid. I was like, I have an awful middle part. I'm going to make fun of it first before everyone else. Or something else like that. Like,
You can change your part.
you can
Did
always
know
change your
that?
part. No, well, yeah, I did it. 10 years later. But like, I remember one time on the bus, these kids called me midget lips. And I do have small, porcelain, beautiful lips. And so I called them midget dicks. And that was it. That was it. I was able to make fun of the situation.
A little person is sitting off to the side like, guys, do we have to bring me into this?
Yeah,
I feel
for the
so
sake of the
attacked
bit.
right now, and I'm not even in the conversation.
A little person on a school bus. What are you doing here? But no, I think I've always found success in making fun of myself before others. So if I am known as like the party person in my little work group, and I will always break the joke where I'll be like, okay, guys, I won't flash someone on this work trip. I'm so sorry. I know what happened last time. I'll never do it again. But it's shitty. And in New York City, it's tough. It's a tough climate to like really be a dominant human being in. But it's a strength that once you find it, like you don't let go of it. It's amazing.
I will also say, like, I always say the hardest part about comedy is being surrounded by people who knew you when you were 22.
Oh, Lord.
Like,
God.
just once I just wish I've wanted to move before just so I could be surrounded by only people who know the current me. But what I will say is that it usually happens too late. It takes too long and it takes too much energy. But when you are able to finally change someone's opinion of you and change your habits and your dynamics, it's a very special thing. So, subtly and with a smile on your face, enforce boundaries and tell people how you're feeling. Tell a trusted manager more deeply how much this is affecting you, and be really candid and vulnerable if you feel it's safe to be candid and vulnerable with that manager. And always have a paper trail. If things
Document
are
everything.
getting, if you're going to be emotional and vulnerable, say, can I record this call so that I can refer back to your advice 100%? And start telling yourself a different story, because everyone does embarrassing shit at 22. Everyone does humiliating shit at 22. And this was not that bad.
No. Girl, you had a good time.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Alrighty, next question.
Ooh.
Your podcast is my favorite. I look forward to it every week, especially the Patreon episodes, because they're often extra spicy. Oh my God, thank you so much.
Whoa.
They are extra spicy. I have a question about friendships when in a serious relationship. I, 25 female, have been with my boyfriend, 25 male, for 4.5 years, and we live together. I've been searching for a genuine, close-knit friend group for years, and have finally just found one after moving to a bigger city 6 months ago. I met these friends about 4 months ago through an online 20 to 30s group that plays casual games, dodgeball, pickleball, board games, and have developed a core group of 8 that feels more like close friends now. My boyfriend has met all of these inner circle once recently, and everyone liked each other and talked a lot. But my boyfriend is a homebody, and I don't want to pressure him to participate despite thinking he fits in so well. The group is about 5 guys and 3 girls. My boyfriend has recently asked me to never go to any activity that I'm the only girl at, and to leave if I'm the last girl left at an event. For info, one, these guys have never in any way made me feel uncomfortable or unsafe in the 30-ish times I've hung out with them, and are very conscientious. Number 2, these guys and I talk very highly of boyfriend, and he is always specifically invited to everything. Number 3, boyfriend has never been controlling in our 4.5 years, and I have never been dishonest or shifty. I'm very protective of an honest and secure relationship. And boyfriend is not concerned about any person in particular. I don't think my boyfriend is being controlling, and we both agree he is not suspicious or distrusting of me with these friends. I plan to respect the boundary flat out of respect, but I am so curious what your opinions are about these very common situations in 20s and early 30s. Signed, Social Girlfriend, and thank you for subscribing to the Patreon, Social Girlfriend.
Wow. That one is diverse and interesting. As someone, okay, we've both been in relationships as comedians.
Yeah.
My ex was not a comedian, and he did not, like, he met all, like, I would introduce my ex, I'd be like, this is the love of my life. This is John, da 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 da. So he knew all these guys, and they're all good guys. But then he started getting a little jealous. Like, one day I was like, I'm gonna go right with these guys, and he's like, oh man, like, I wanted to hang out with you or whatever. And I'm like, well, I have plans. So that's my, and we broke up. Because I was like, I want to do comedy. It's a male dominated thing, you know, like I'm gonna be around guys. I'm not going to leave if I'm the only girl standing. So my opinion is that those boundaries are very suspicious.
They are very suspicious.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, 2 things come to mind. The first is that if these were coworkers, if this was your passion in life, if these were long-term close friends, I might find it more suspicious or just like more of a problem. But it sounds like it's not a big deal to you. You're just kind of like, but I don't know if I want this to be a precedent. I don't know if I want him being able to tell me when to come home.
Right.
It's not a big deal to me. It's not like it was going to come up that often. I'm rarely the last girl around, and I don't mind leaving, but I don't know if I want to open up the precedent. And that is like exactly what I would tell your boyfriend. I would say, yeah, I'm down to do that flat out of your respect. And also because it's not a big deal to me. I'm not like particularly these close with these guys, and I'm not like so into, but I have a mild concern in the back of my head of like long term, how much input do you think is normal from you into my social life? For a relationship, because this is a long-term relationship, this is the first time that this issue has really come up. And like, where are our boundaries moving forward? Because I think in the long term, you know, like in the short term, I don't really see anything coming up where I just like really want to stay, even though I'm the last girl there, or go to an event where I'm the only girl. But in the long term, I might. It might sound really fun, or we might really all be vibing, and then the other girl leaves, and all of a sudden I'm beholden to this rule from you. So I'm wondering if this is going to be forever. Like, what is bringing this up? Is there a way for us to have more security in our relationship? And just like say yes for now, because it doesn't sound like it bothers you, but then open up the conversation of long term and on a bigger level. Where is this coming from? And can we come to a good compromise where we know exactly where the boundaries are?
But I'm also interested. So it's been 4.5 years, but in the last 6 months, she moved to a bigger city, and that's where she's starting to thrive in her social circles now because she has new friends. So I'm like, what was going on the first 4.5 years? Like, what? I would be curious to ask him, like, hey, where do these boundaries come from? Because do you have like previous experience with an ex or something that did this to you? Because for me personally, if I had a guy tell me, I don't want you being the only girl hanging out there, I'd be like, well, I'm just a girl. Like that's a red flag for me personally. I love your point of view, and that's totally fair. And it doesn't seem like a big deal to her. But I'm like wondering why this shift now, as soon as she starts enjoying more friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely wonder if he's not. I wonder if he is too
Does he have
embarrassed about
friends?
feeling insecure.
Maybe he needs friends.
But my first thought is like, I might be being biased because, to be honest, I think anytime I've been in a situation and the last girl leaves, I'm like, cool, the vibe is dead. See y'all later.
Interesting.
And like, my boyfriend is a jealous person. He's not a jealous person with me because I'm not nice to men. Like, I'm not, there's never a like friendly verging on flirty relationship.
Right.
Because I work really hard to be friendly and warm toward men, and it's not even friendly and warm enough.
Yeah.
So it's just like I can't necessarily relate to the idea of wanting to be the only girl at a purely social gathering. I'm the only girl at a lot of work gatherings,
Sure.
and it's never fun to me.
See, it's fun. You mean work as in comedy,
Yeah.
right? See, it's funny. I can't even refer comedy as work. I'm like, it's a passion that I kind of whatever. But at my workplace, I do have a team of all women. So I'm used to hanging out with women. And even if I worked in restaurants for a long time, a lot of guys and stuff. If I'm the last girl hanging out in like a post dinner rush, like drinks thing, I don't even pay attention to the fact that I'm the only girl. I'm just like, I'm here. I'm dicking around with these guys. So it's fascinating that we have these two different viewpoints on it. 'Cause I don't see anything wrong with being the last girl in a guy hang, if you will. Like, I'll most likely go home soon, but it's not because I'm the only girl there. I don't see a big deal. I'm going to poke myself in the eye. I don't see a big deal in being the last girl in a group. So I wonder the boyfriend's perspective again. Like, what does he need more friends? Does he need, like, I know he's a homebody. I used to be, and then I got friends, and I was like, I'm an extrovert now because people text me like sick. So I would wonder what his previous trauma is with that. I'd wonder if he'd be interested in getting like into something that's more along like hobbies and friends, and see how he might view a situation like, oh, I'm the last guy in a group of girls. How do you feel about that? You know? But you also have sound advice as well. This is very hard. This is a hard one.
Yeah. I would say start with I'm down to follow those requests for the time being. Not a big deal to me. But let's have a bigger conversation about what we want our boundaries to look like in terms of like jealousy and stuff like this, because I'm not sure I want to live the rest of my life with these rules imposed on it. And I'm not sure that I want to live a few years from now with these rules imposed on it. So what can we do to build up the trust in our relationship? I think I want a relationship where I can navigate my social life freely and totally unfettered. But what I will say is that, like, no single thing that your boyfriend wants is necessarily wrong. Even if it's abnormal, it's not necessarily wrong. The question is only ever, are you down with that? Are you down to live the rest of your relationship abiding by those rules or not?
That's solid.
Sweet.
I agree with that. Done.
Alrighty. Last question.
Okay.
Wrap this up.
Okay.
How do you break yourself out of being the backup person? E.g., the dick under glass, break as needed.
Wow.
Signed, Ain't Even a Situation. Thank you for subscribing to the Patreon, Ain't Even a Situation.
First of all, a lot of things in museums are in glass and they're to be admired and worshipped and paid for. So I say congratulations for being the backup dick.
If the glass hasn't been broken, you're not the backup dick.
No, you're
Are you talking about a marriage pact? Where it's like, if we're both single at 60,
interesting.
we'll get with each other.
I've done that, and then he turned gay and then married a man.
But like,
and I was
what
like,
makes you think of you the backup? Because I'm like, I don't think anyone specifically told you you're the backup dick. If they did, they're not a kind friend or whatever.
Yeah, that's rude.
And if they haven't told you, how is one implying or implicitly communicating to you that you're the backup dick?
Or do you just think that, because I used to think that way, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna sleep with another man. I'm gonna go fuck women now. And then like I found confidence in being, no, I'm gonna have sex with this guy because I want to, and he's my backup. You find your backup, okay? You get the fantasy fuck league going. If this is pertaining to sex, 2024, draft it up.
I've never had backup dick.
Yo,
I have had. I am aware that this person thinks that I'm attractive. Keep the compliments coming.
Sure.
And I wonder if they think that me being like, yeah, keep complimenting me is like sick. I'm the backup dick. I'm ready. Put me in, coach.
Yo,
as soon as she's free, she's
You're
gonna
on
be
a
coming.
team. You're
It's like,
playing for someone.
Absolutely not. It was a no from the beginning. But I am always open to compliments. One thing you guys should know about me: always open to compliments.
Done. I think I'm gonna go back to my museum analogy. That's beautiful. I think that's great. If I'm someone's backup, cool. If I'm someone's backup on a rainy day, I find confidence in that. I'm like, yeah, number one wasn't available, but like, it's sick.
Oh, are they like hitting you up when someone else cancels?
Welcome to hookup culture, man.
Yeah, if it's like a situation where they're hitting you up when someone else cancels, and I'll say, I'm the backup woman for a lot of people. When women drop off shows, I get texts from Booker. Do you want to do a spot tonight?
Can you tell them I'm a backup now? Just be like, instead of me, you can put Sarah in.
And all of the girls who are like around my level of experience, we've had this experience with each other where it's like I drop off a show and they get a text, or they drop off of a show and I get a text, because there's a general expectation that there's going to be one woman on every show. In Denver comedy, two if you're a
Two
fucking
would be
PC warrior.
Wow, that's a feminist show right there. PC warrior. I love that.
A lot of times, there's one woman on the show, and they don't want when she drops for it to be an all male lineup. So in that situation, I've always felt like, bro, a spot is a spot.
Stage time is stage time. Dick time is dick time.
Feel better soon, girl.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so dick is dick.
Dick is dick.
If you are upset about being a backup, I think maybe you have feelings with this person.
Ooh.
Don't fuck someone you have feelings for if they only see you casual. Always, always, always just extricate yourself from the situation. Don't be friends. Don't fuck them. Just get some space and pursue people who really like you.
And you know what? My friend, I think it's a TikTok thing. You call them a sneaky link. And when you call them that, it makes it more fun. More like playing a board game, like Dungeons and Dragons. This
what makes
Roll
someone
12.
a sneaky link?
Like, it's very, like, I have a sneaky link and no one knows his name. No one knows what he does. No one knows when I see him.
It's got to be a comic, right? Because why would you keep it a secret if it wasn't a comic?
Well, yeah.
So I know what he does.
Well, now you know. This should be a Patreon episode. They should pay for this intel.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, this needs to be locked down and loaded. Yeah. So maybe he does do comedy.
So it's not that sneaky.
It's sneaky in the sense, if you knew me, I'm like, look at my roster. I got Bob, Eddie, Joseph, Jesus. Like, people know who I'm fucking. That's just my thing. It's rare for me to have a sneaky link, but because we respect each other and our stations in comedy, we keep it very under wraps. You know about my sneaky link now. The whole world will. In the UK.
I don't know who it is.
You don't know who it is, but that's the best part. Sneaky link.
But you call him that. If you gave me 3 guesses, I could get it, though.
Oh, do you want to try?
After, yeah.
Okay. Patreon. We'll do a behind the scenes. No, but
I've never had a sneaky link. I mean, I've fucked a comic in a situation where it was like, most of the time when I've gotten with comics, it's like, don't tell anyone. Or until it's like serious.
Nah, like this, my sneaky link, we'll never be together. We're just not compatible. But we've communicated we'll never be compatible to the point of a relationship. Yeah. This is purely physical. We'll never tell anyone else.
Purely physical and comedic.
Done. But physical comedy is what we call it.
Prop comedy.
Prop comedy.
The prop is your dick.
Prop is your dick, boy. In the glass. Break it. But I think if you have fun with it is my advice. You may be backup dick, but you're still a dick that gets dicked around. That's my slogan, 2024.
There's nothing wrong with being the backup person, but you will never change how someone sees you and what category they see you in. And if you do change it, you don't want a position you had to earn your way into. You want someone who just immediately sees you and puts you in the category you want to be in. So don't pursue trying to break out of being the backup dick. No. Just either embrace it or break out of that role entirely.
Yeah, reassess what you want to do with that dick.
Hell yeah.
Ding!
Sarah,
hey!
Where can the people find you, and what are you doing that they should be following?
Oh my goodness. Well, you can, I'm so close. I'm saying this to you. I'm so close to 1,000 followers. We'll get there eventually. But
yeah.
I need 15 more. If you could just do me a solid.
15 people better us.
Come on, please. You. If I support Hannah, you support her. It's at Sarah Sawchuk on Instagram. Next up, I'll be in Arvada, January 13th. That was it, like Howie's Lounge or something like that. But the most important one I want to promote is the Manitou Comedy Festival. It is happening Thursday, May 16th through Sunday, May 19th.
Yeah.
And hopefully we will nab you. It's one of our headliners.
You did already.
Okay, I just didn't want to say that and you'd be like, actually bagged.
Hopefully we will nab
you. I didn't know.
You messaged me yesterday and I said yes.
I did, but I forgot to ask you before the pod. I was like, are we down? Are we loaded? And
yeah,
then
we're locked and loaded.
So Hannah Jones is gonna headline that Saturday night. It's gonna be May 18th in Manitou Springs. It's a beautiful spot to get Airbnb and just have a fun little vacay.
Oh yeah.
I'm a co-producer and I'm HR as well. So
yeah. Definitely look up Sarah. You can find me at Hannah Jones Cool on any social media platform. Subscribe to the Patreon and submit a question. We've been getting so many questions lately. We've gotten to do all question episodes, which are absolutely my favorite. And especially today's questions were like so long and in-depth and thoughtful. Good. And they were fantastic. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.
Bye.